Exploring new worlds through games is like embarking on epic journeys without leaving home. Single-player games have the power to transport us to universes rich in stories, challenges, and unforgettable moments. Who hasn't gotten lost in a narrative so captivating that hours felt like minutes? It's not just about completing levels or defeating enemies, but about experiencing something meaningful with characters, landscapes, and battles that stay etched in memory. In this list, you will find the best games to dive into incredible adventures, full of twists, intense combat, and breathtaking landscapes. From feudal Japan to the stars of the future, each game brings something unique for those seeking fun and excitement. Each of these games is an unmissable journey, capable of keeping your attention from start to finish. I'm Jax, and if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel, where I bring you daily content so you won't miss a single detail of the gaming universe. And if you can subscribe to help me grow, I'd be really happy. From one gamer to another. In first place, we have Ghost of Tsushima, a true masterpiece that makes you feel like you're in an epic samurai story. From the first minutes, the beauty of the landscape steals the scene, with fields of flowers swaying in the wind and a breathtaking sunset. But don't be fooled by the calmness. The path is filled with electrifying duels and battles that require strategy and precision. The combat flows like a deadly choreography, rewarding every well-timed strike. One of the most fascinating aspects is the absence of arrows or invasive maps. Instead, the wind guides your steps, making each discovery more organic and natural. Along the journey, side missions enrich the experience with surprising stories and emotional dilemmas. One moment you're meditating to the sounds of nature, and the next, you're wielding your sword in an intense duel. The soundtrack amplifies every moment with compositions that range from serenity to pure tension, enhancing the action and introspection scenes. Everything in this game seems carefully designed to transport players directly to feudal Japan. A true invitation to immerse yourself in one of the best single-player action games out there. Next, we have Mark of the Ninja, a true lesson in how a game can elevate the stealth genre. The dark ambience, with hand-drawn backgrounds, creates a hypnotic contrast between light and shadow as you sneak through with precision. Every movement feels calculated like a masterstroke, and the tension builds with every second, especially when enemies are just steps away, ready to sound the alarm. The game shines by giving players the freedom to approach missions in creative ways. You could be a ghost that no one sees, or a lethal predator who vanishes before the body hits the ground. And all of this with precise controls and mechanics that reinforce the sense of urgency. It's not just about staying unnoticed, but about turning every step into part of a symphony of suspense. The visual style, with its stylized lines and fluid animations, adds a special charm, reinforcing the sense of imminent danger. The silence, broken only by the footsteps of enemies and the sound of a sharp blade, will leave anyone on edge. Few games manage to capture so well the essence of what it means to be a true master of the shadows. In third place, Scarlet Nexus brings a futuristic approach with combat that feels like an explosion of energy. Set in a neon-filled metropolis full of mysteries, the game stands out for its psychic powers that turn objects in the environment into devastating weapons. Cars, posts, and even debris are thrown in visceral sequences that make every battle feel like a high-octane anime scene. The combat is fast-paced and stimulating, combining quick attacks and telekinesis in movements that require precision and creativity. The narrative is deep and full of twists, exploring themes like identity and emotional bonds. Amidst all the action, the story keeps players hooked with surprising moments and dialogues that raise more questions than answers, all while never losing momentum. The enemy creatures are a mix of horror and strangeness, with shapes that seem to have come out of a twisted nightmare. Added to this, the electronic beats of the soundtrack heighten the urgency, creating an atmosphere that makes every battle feel intense. In fourth place, Mafia Definitive Edition perfectly recreates the atmosphere of the 1930s, transporting players to a setting full of classic cars, narrow streets, and luxurious clubs. The city breathes authenticity, with dialogues full of accents and slang that reinforce the period feel. The narrative unfolds like a first-rate mafia film, with intrigues, broken loyalties, and moments of pure tension. The strong point is the balance between action and narrative. Car chases are thrilling, with engines roaring as gunshots echo through the avenues, and shootouts are strategic, with no exaggeration, reinforcing the sense of vulnerability in each confrontation. Every mission carries a narrative weight, placing the player in decisions and situations that require a cool head. Every detail is carefully thought out, from the metallic shine of the old cars to the streets full of signs and advertisements from the time. The pace is steady and engaging, without rushing through the events, allowing players to enjoy each scene as part of a carefully orchestrated story. A perfect invitation to dive into an authentic noir drama. In fifth place, Tormented Souls masterfully resurrects classic horror, delivering a suffocating atmosphere that seems to have come straight from the roots of the survival horror genre. The environment is dark and oppressive, with narrow hallways and sounds echoing through the void, making every step feel heavier. The shadows dance with the flickering light, and every door opened brings uncertainty about what lurks behind it. The gameplay is intentionally methodical, requiring caution with every move and sharp thinking to solve puzzles. The smart use of limited resources enhances the sense of vulnerability, turning every confrontation into a test of nerves. Nothing here is gratuitous. Everything feels calculated to keep the tension high, from the sound of creaking objects in the distance to the timely soundtrack that announces danger. The references to classic horror are evident, but the execution is full of its own identity. The use of lighting creates striking contrasts, highlighting settings that seem designed to mess with the psyche. It's a dive into a nightmare, where every choice could make the difference between escaping or being lost forever. In sixth place, Lost Judgment takes police investigation to the next level, blending intense action with moments of pure deduction. The urban setting is full of life, with busy streets, glowing neon lights, and people interacting as if every corner hides a new story. The feeling of being in a living, unpredictable environment is enhanced by small details, casual conversations between passers-by, bright advertisements, and even the distant sound of sirens. The combat mechanics are dynamic and filled with precise movements, with a variety of strikes and styles that make each fight unique. Between each confrontation, the player is challenged to gather evidence, follow suspects, and solve mysteries that don't always have obvious answers. Every new clue found fuels the narrative, turning each moment into a mix of tension and discovery. The highlight is how side missions enrich the main storyline, with parallel tales filled with humor and drama. This approach makes the journey even more engaging, as if every case contributes to painting a bigger picture of the city and its contradictions. The pace never slows down, and with so many layers of narrative, it's impossible not to feel trapped in the conflicts and secrets hidden in the shadows of the streets. In seventh place, Dying Light 2 delivers a devastated world where every decision alters the course of events. The abandoned city breathes decadence and danger, with ruined buildings covered in vegetation and survivors fighting for every shred of hope. The relentless cycle of day and night creates a terrifying dynamic, while sunlight offers a breath of relief. Darkness transforms the streets into a hunting ground filled with bloodthirsty creatures. The fluid movement is a spectacle in itself. Climbing buildings, jumping between rooftops, and crossing structures with precision makes parkour more than just a mechanic. It's the fine line between life and death. Combining this with visceral combat, where each improvised weapon carries real weight, the game creates moments of pure adrenaline, like escaping a swarm of infected by jumping through narrow windows seconds before being caught. The impact of choices makes each journey unique. Allies can turn into enemies depending on your actions, and entire areas change hands as you intervene. This gives the player the feeling of shaping their own destiny amidst the chaos, turning what could be mere survival into a complex game of politics, loyalty, and instinct. In 8th place, Enslaved Odyssey to the West stands out with a post-apocalyptic journey full of personality and stunning landscapes. Instead of gray, dead ruins, the setting is vibrant, with cities overtaken by nature, where plants and giant trees have taken over ancient structures. This blend of destruction and life creates a fascinating and visually striking contrast. Moving through the environments is fluid and pairs well with the combat moments. Battles against robots patrolling the area are intense, requiring strategy and attention to the rhythm of the offensives. There's an interesting alternation between dangerous climbs and brutal battles, keeping the progression exciting. Each stretch feels designed to give the sense of a new challenge, whether it's an unexpected ambush or a path that requires precision with each jump. Another striking element is how the interactions shape the narrative. The bond between the characters evolves gradually, adding moments of tension and complicity that make the journey more engaging. Even amidst the chaos, there's room for subtle dialogues that reinforce how broken the world around them is and how small gestures can make a difference in a world where almost everything has been lost. In 9th place, Jusant presents a contemplative and challenging adventure set in a colossal rocky structure that seems endless. The setting impresses not with destructive grandeur, but with the serene, almost mystical beauty of every stone wall, sculpted by time and nature. With every stretch climbed, the landscape subtly changes, revealing new details, like moss glowing in the sunlight and hidden caves. Climbing is the heart of the game, with mechanics that require coordination and planning. It's not just about moving forward. Each support and each movement needs to be calculated precisely, bringing a constant sense of challenge. The prevailing silence, broken only by the sound of wind and footsteps on the rock, creates an introspective atmosphere. It's one of those moments where calm is interrupted only by the tension of an imminent slip. The minimalist design, focusing on textures and natural colors, makes each stretch feel like a living painting. There's no rush or combat, just the drive to reach higher and unravel the mystery awaiting at the top. The journey itself is where the true essence of this vertical adventure lies. Every meter conquered tells a story, making it clear that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. This is the type of game to relax and forget about your problems, a true therapy within the world of games. But if you don't want to relax, but rather stress out, the next game is perfect for that. Elden Ring challenges anyone with an open world of epic proportions, where every ruin and plane hides dangers and secrets. The setting is vast and imposing, with foggy hills, dark forests, and crumbling castles that seem to hold long-forgotten stories. The grandeur of each structure makes it impossible not to feel a mix of fascination and apprehension when exploring. The combat is brutal and rewarding, requiring precision and patience. There's no room for carelessness. Each encounter with gigantic creatures and skilled enemies tests reflexes and the ability to adapt. The variety of skills and weapons offers unique ways to defend and attack, allowing for different approaches, from furious hand-to-hand battles to carefully calculated ranged attacks. The details scattered across the map build a subtle and engaging narrative. Broken statues, forgotten tombs, and colossal abandoned constructions offer clues to past events, inviting players to piece together an enigmatic storyline. It's like stepping into a universe where every step reveals something grand, and where even the simplest walk can turn into an unforgettable duel. In 11th place, Uncharted Collection brings a trilogy of cinematic adventures that transport the player to exotic and mysterious locations. From hidden ruins in the jungle to scorching deserts and cities forgotten by time, each setting is a celebration of exploration and the unknown. The grand scale of the chases and discoveries makes every moment feel like an epic event. The action is crafted with mastery, alternating between intense gunfights, dangerous climbs, and clever puzzles. Each sequence is carefully constructed to surprise, turning chases and escapes into true visual spectacles. Plummeting from a runaway train or escaping a collapsing city are just some of the moments that make your heart race. The narrative ties everything together with sharp dialogue and twists that keep the pace constantly engaging. The interactions between the characters create a genuine connection and give emotional weight to decisions and conflicts. Even in the calmest moments, the sense of being in the middle of a great action movie is constant, ensuring a journey full of unforgettable memories. In 12th place, God of War 3 delivers a grand journey marked by fury and the desire for revenge. The colossal settings impress right from the start, with giant titans climbing mountains and temples collapsing amid epic battles. Each environment seems to pulse with power and destruction, creating a constant sense of urgency and brutality. The combat is brutal and fluid, with devastating moves that make each confrontation feel like a display of strength. The variety of weapons and abilities further intensifies the battles, allowing attacks to be combined in breathtaking sequences. With every blow, the player feels the weight of destruction when facing massive enemies in arenas that seem like true mythical battlefields. The artistic direction impresses by turning even the darkest moments into visually stunning scenes. The details of the creatures, ruined settings, and hidden chambers reinforce the tragic and grandiose atmosphere of the journey. There's no respite between the challenges, and each new battle feels more intense and unpredictable than the last, making it impossible to look away or let your guard down. In 13th place, Days Gone places the player in a world devastated by a brutal apocalypse, where the silence of the forest can be just as dangerous as the attacks from infected hordes. The pothole-filled roads and abandoned small towns reinforce the sense of isolation, creating a tense atmosphere with every move. It's not just about surviving. It's about dealing with a scenario where everything seems on the brink of collapse. The combat system is versatile and unpredictable, allowing both direct confrontations and stealthy approaches. One of the most electrifying moments is when the hordes appear. Hundreds of creatures charge mercilessly, forcing the player to think quickly, use traps, and find improvised escape routes. Every ambush or attack can turn into a desperate chase, where the motorcycle becomes a vital extension to escape certain death. The bike dynamic is a highlight in itself, functioning as much more than a means of transport. You need to keep the fuel in check and repair damage, which increases the tension in more remote areas. Exploring is essential but also a constant risk. Every stop can bring valuable resources or an unexpected danger that can change everything in seconds. In 14th place, the Evil Within series plunges the player into a nightmare universe where sanity is constantly tested. Twisted corridors, grotesque creatures, and environments that seem to reshape as you progress create a suffocating atmosphere. Nothing remains static, and the feeling of being watched at every corner makes every step an act of courage. The gameplay focuses on balancing tension and survival. It's not just about being skilled. Limited resources and scarce ammunition make every bullet count. There are moments when fleeing is the only option, and the constant uncertainty about what lies ahead makes everything even more agonizing. The closed areas, with flickering lights and muffled sounds, make it impossible to relax, even during moments of apparent calm. The visual direction reinforces the disturbing tone with minute details, walls that seem to bleed, doors that creak like a final warning, and distorted reflections that play with perception. The series challenges the player to face their most primal fears, using both action and narrative to create a cycle of psychological and physical horror that grips from start to finish. In 15th place, Nier Automata takes the player to a melancholic future where machines and androids wage an endless war amid the ruins of a desolate world. The contrast between the arid deserts, destroyed buildings, and blooming fields creates a landscape that's as beautiful as it is sad. Each area seems to tell a silent story, leaving a trail of questions as you advance through the wreckage of a forgotten civilization. The action is frantic and fluid, with battles alternating between hand-to-hand combat and aerial shooting. The camera transitions during the fights are impressive, giving a unique dynamism to each confrontation. The arsenal allows devastating combinations of attacks, while mechanical enemies of all sizes require quick reflexes and smart strategies. The narrative is the most surprising element, with moments that break expectations and touch on deep issues about existence, purpose, and sacrifice. The soundtrack, with its melancholic and ethereal compositions, amplifies every twist. It's a game that not only challenges you in combat, but also stirs emotions, leaving reflections that continue even after the final conclusion. In 16th place, Dishonored Series transports the player to a dark and stylized universe where technology and magic collide in a city marked by decay and political intrigue. The narrow streets, imposing mansions, and steam-filled factories reinforce a constant sense of oppression. The Victorian-era-inspired visual, combined with fantastic elements, gives a unique charm to the setting and sparks curiosity at every corner. The gameplay shines due to its freedom of approach. You can complete missions without being seen, with precise movements and supernatural abilities that allow for silent teleportations and control of the environment around you. On the other hand, those who prefer a more direct path can turn confrontations into chaotic spectacles, using improvised weapons and destructive powers. Each choice has consequences, altering details of the narrative and influencing the fates of the characters. The mission design is impeccable and layered. Environments like mansions full of secrets and heavily guarded palaces turn into playgrounds of possibilities. The feeling of planning each action, observing guards, and finding alternative routes makes progression unpredictable and stimulating. With such a rich and nuanced world, each incursion becomes its own story, shaped by the player's approach. In 17th place, Astro Bot delivers a charming and surprisingly innovative adventure within the platformer genre. The setting is a spectacle of color and creativity, with environments that seem to come to life as you progress. From floating gardens to submerged caves, each level is full of details that spark curiosity and make the player examine every corner. The gameplay maximizes immersion, utilizing precise mechanics and movements that directly interact with the environment. Platforms adjust to your progress, enemies appear unexpectedly, and obstacles are overcome uniquely, like timed jumps and maneuvers requiring absolute precision. The use of controls creates a sense of presence, making every action have a direct impact on the journey. The design of challenges and enemies impresses with its variety. The bosses, for example, are not only large in size but also in complexity, requiring creative strategies to defeat. The upbeat music and vibrant aesthetics complement the lighthearted tone perfectly, making the adventure a celebration of the platformer genre and the sense of discovery it provides. In 18th place, God of War Ragnarok elevates the Norse epic to an even more impressive level. The settings range from frozen forests and imposing mountains to mystical realms that seem to have been sculpted with an absurd level of detail. Each landscape is filled with elements that reinforce the grandeur of mythology, bringing a mix of beauty and threat in every new region explored. The combat is a spectacle of brutality and technique, with a variety of powerful strikes and abilities that can be combined strategically. Each encounter becomes a tense and unpredictable fight. The quick weapon swapping makes the pace of battles even more intense, requiring sharp reflexes to take advantage of every opening left by enemies. The calm moments are equally impactful, with sharp dialogues and emotional scenes deepening the characters' bonds. The surprising twists and power struggles make the narrative as strong as the battles. Nothing here is wasted. Every gesture, every conversation, and every look helps reinforce the feeling of participating in something grand and tragic at the same time. In 19th place, Assassin's Creed Black Flag takes the adventure to the seas, with exciting naval battles and a massive map full of mysterious islands and bustling ports. Navigating the crystal-clear waters and facing colossal storms creates a unique sense of freedom, as if every sail raised was an invitation to explore the unknown. The sea battles are a spectacle in themselves. The player commands a ship that can be equipped with cannons and upgrades, turning the fights against other fleets into epic confrontations. After victory, you can board enemy ships, climb the ropes, and participate in intense battles surrounded by the chaos of burning sails and pirate shouts. Off the ship, exploration on land keeps the pace with fortresses to invade, buried treasures to find, and even vibrant port cities to discover. The songs sung by the crew during the voyages make each crossing more immersive, creating a lively and nostalgic atmosphere of maritime adventures. Few games capture so well the feeling of being a true pirate captain in search of glory and fortune. Continuing, we have Black Myth Wukong, a game that impresses with its reinterpretation of Chinese mythology and stunning visuals. The environments range from dense forests to ancient temples hidden in mist-covered cliffs, each full of details that bring the journey to life. The agile movement and dynamic settings make each area feel like a moving painting, where dangers blend with mystical beauty. The combat is fierce and requires mastery of skills, with battles that demand precision and reading of enemy movements. The variety of supernatural creatures makes every confrontation unpredictable, from colossal beasts to demonic warriors that attack with unique patterns. The ability to assume different forms during battles adds a strategic layer that keeps the tension high, turning each clash into a true test of skills. The game is a visual spectacle, with vibrant colors and textures that almost feel tangible. The sound of gongs ringing, the wind rustling the leaves, and the effects of strikes form a symphony that reinforces immersion. It's an intense and captivating journey, unfolding like a living legend, and offering a unique perspective on the epic tales that inspire its narrative. And tell me, which of these games have you had the chance to play? Did any of them catch your curiosity and make it onto your list of upcoming games? We'd love to know which one grabbed your attention the most. Share in the comments any game that totally deserves a spot on the list, but didn't make it. If you can, please subscribe to the channel to help me grow and never be unsure about what to play again. I'm leaving 2 videos on the card, one I've selected for you and another that YouTube chose. Just click on one of them to watch. Big hug, happy gaming, and see you tomorrow.